So, welcome to the third episode of Charchaएं. Today, we have an exciting guest. She's Dr. Indu Arneja. I have this long CV in front of me, and I'm sure I've missed a lot of points there. But still, I'll just take a moment to say a few things about her. She's the director of Indian Institute of Healthcare and Communication. She's a psychologist who's been practicing for last 30 years. So that is like 7 years more than my age. And she has been a visiting professor at IIM Ahmedabad, Delhi University, and IGNOU. She has conducted more than 1,000 plus programs for 70 government hospitals and colleges. She's a certified trainer from Dale Carnegie University and an external assessor for NQAS, that is the Ministry of Healthcare and Family Welfare. And I'm sure missing on few points there. So I'm very excited to have you, doctor, with me. I'll just dive into the question. How is the last 30 days have been, and how do you see the increase in number of people who are approaching you right now?
See, personally, if you say 30 days has been very new to me, because something that we had never thought of or we had never, kind of dreamt of. After initial few days of confusion, I think I got the reins of the situation and I realized that probably this is the best time that I have with me. That's
Right.
on my personal front. So I'm really very, if somebody asks me what is the best time of your life, I think being at home and doing whatever I had on my mind or I had on my bucket list, I'm able to fulfill all that. On the professional front, yes, I find a lot of people approaching for counseling, a lot of people coming up with the anxiety and other, COVID related issues, and even otherwise, there are a lot of other issues because of staying indoor. That's
Yeah.
there.
Trend do you see? Are there people approaching of all the age groups, or is it mainly the youngsters? Because I think even here in India, still mental health is a bit of a taboo, and I don't see many of the elderly people, some people who are around 45 to 60, or maybe 40 to 50 to 60. They are very keen in approaching doctors for their mental health, though youngsters are becoming a bit comfortable. So what issues are coming up right now, and how are the people tackling this stay at home lockdown thing that has been imposed by the government on us?
See, one, fear of disease. I think that's the major thing that people are coming up with. As you said, that people above the age of 40 years, and so they don't really take much care of their mental health, and they don't even think that, okay, I need to talk about it. But now people are coming up whenever they have some anxiety or fear about, catching the infection, or in case if I have it, then how will things go? So I do get calls from that group of people. And of course, from youngsters, we get calls about, like, when they are at home and they are not finding a way out to, utilize their time, or their concern is not much about the disease, but there are a lot of other. Also, a lot of calls from parents I'm receiving, and they're finding it difficult to handle kids at home, especially their teenagers or grown-up kids,
Yeah.
because that's something that has never happened. Like
Right.
everybody at home for such a long time, and actually not having anything very specific or special to do. And I think that's something which is very mind-boggling.
सही पूछें, साली खुशी की काफी कमी चल रही है कंट्री में. India is the most depressed country in the world, followed by China and the US, as per a 2018 report by World Health Organization. करीब 135 करोड़ की पॉपुलेशन है हमारी, जिसमें से 6.5% people are suffering from some form of mental illness. 6.5%, मतलब करीब 8.5 करोड़ लोग, 8.5 करोड़ लोग suffering from mental health problem. This is more than the total population of South Africa. इसमें से करीब 5 करोड़ लोग suffer from depression और बाकी के करीब 3 करोड़ suffer from anxiety disorders including panic attacks, phobias, post-traumatic stress disorder and obsessive compulsive disorder. WHO estimates that हर 1 लाख लोगों में करीब 21 लोग सुसाइड कर रहे हैं. In fact, we have the highest number of teenage suicides globally.
So there is a greater anxiety in the environment, as we can see. What suggestions are you giving everyone for the anxiety? How are you suggesting them ways to get out of the anxious situation that we are in right now?
The thing is, usually people, I get to see a lot of webinars, and even I'm conducting a lot of webinars around this topic. So people are saying that stay at home, keep yourself busy, keep your keep your routine in place, and keep your focus on something productive. Of course, all those tips absolutely are very useful, no doubt about it. But I try helping people, give specific tools which not only will help them in the COVID time, but also later on in their life, because they got to understand what triggers anxiety in them, or what triggers fear in them. So, like, for example, I do explain to people that, see, we all have two minds. One is emotional mind and one is the rational mind. So usually this anxiety and fear are product of emotional mind.
Right.
And emotional mind is something like, it's a mindless monkey.
Yeah.
It's a mindless monkey, so it cannot think, but it would keep troubling you, giving you signals that I want attention, or I want. So very smartly, we have to really engage this mindless monkey into, some productive activities, so that this monkey does not disturb you, or it does not upset you. So, one of the good ways to deal with this is, I would say, that keep it busy, and let your rational mind, take a lead, this thing in your day-to-day life. So if you can engage it with some productive activities, and also sense of security that everything is fine, don't worry, we are all in a safe place, I'm indoor, I'm taking care of good thing. So that way you can handle your emotional mind. At the same time, you got to really train your rational mind to work this period of time, because lot of rationality is required today to deal with what is happening today, and then how we have to prepare ourselves for tomorrow. For example, what I would say, that we really have to learn to, first of all, accurately assess or estimate the actual risk.
Yeah.
Many a times when I get the call that, oh, I feel I have corona, oh, I think I have little symptoms of corona, or I think I have caught corona from somebody, or I visited somebody, so maybe I have it. I have a small kid at home. So, I mean, I received a call from Hyderabad from somebody. So he said that I have a 1.5-year-old daughter at home, and I fear that I might infect her in case if I acquire the infection.
Yeah.
So what you are doing is, you are one, you don't have the infection.
Right.
Now you're fearing infection, and also you're fearing that you're going to infect your child at home.
Yeah.
So that means you are, kind of accumulating anxiety. So we really need to, learn to accurately assess or estimate the risk of getting the infection. For example, if I'm at home, if I'm taking all precautions, if I'm not mingling with people, if I'm not doing anything that can actually make me more, at risk to corona, then I don't need to get worried about it.
Right.
So we really have to train our mind, I'll give you a very beautiful example. Long ago, maybe 15 years ago, I can say, or maybe more than that, 15-20 years ago, I used to watch that serial, Dastak. Do you know that
Yeah,
serial?
right. I know that. They used to
Do
come
you
on
watch that? Do you watch that?
I don't watch it. I remember my mother used to watch it. Used to come.
Okay.
Yeah, used to come on a news channel, right?
I know all mothers have this problem. So even I used to watch it. So initially, when I watched that program, I used to really feel very good. Okay, very nice. I can see what all risks I have, how people can harm me, how I can, get duped by people, or how I can be, I can be in trouble because of this thing. But after watching few episodes, I realized that rather than empowering me, it was instilling fear in me.
Right.
Then what I did, I just sat one day with myself and I asked, what is the probability of this happening with you?
Yeah.
In a population of 130 crore,
Right.
if this has happened with one person, so my probability of getting this is 1 divided by 130 crores. So 0.00001%, you can say so.
Right.
So that's how we have to really learn to, accurately estimate the risk that we have. Of course, all precautions have to be taken, but we don't have to let this anxiety overpower us, because then everything will go haywire.
Yeah. So here I want to bring in one point where I feel the role of media and the whole social media is also triggering this anxiety between us, because of constantly sharing of the graphs and videos of let's say countries like. So I'm not saying this pandemic is something to not grave about. It is something that the country and the world is going through a crisis. But be positive in this whole negative environment is something I feel is becoming difficult, because you are getting videos from all over the world where people are lying just on the roads, and they are being left to death because of the limitations of the medical facilities in some of the countries. And then there is this anxiety that keeps building in us, that this is going to affect the whole country. It is not just about us, it is about like the whole country will be affected, and for 2-3 years we are not going to move anywhere.
So Pulkit, here also, you have asked a wonderful question. So here also, I would give you a very interesting perspective to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, media has the responsibility of bringing all possible information to public, so that they doing their duty. But I have a choice to make how much of it can I have or should I have. Like when you go for a marriage party, so you have a buffet, you have a lot of food lying, and I sometimes see people taking everything on their plate. They want to taste everything. They want to have everything. So ultimately, you almost take double or triple the quantity that you can actually eat.
Right.
Similarly, media is serving you a lot of information.
Right.
You have to consciously make a choice: how much of it can I have, and how much of it I should be taking. If I'm diabetic, I don't have to take sugar. If I'm anxiety prone, then I better minimize the such media. For example, even I get more than 2,000 messages every day. I don't watch videos at all. I don't go through all the, maybe in a day I would sit in my TV room for maybe 2 or 3 times for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just see what are the updates. That's all. And then rest of the time I utilize for my benefit. I don't sit and watch TV all day, because that's going to really boggle your mind. So you have to consciously make a choice.
Yeah.
According to the National Mental Health Survey 2016, depending on the state, 70 to 92% of those in need of mental health care fail to receive any treatment. इसका कारण? हमारे पास इतने मेंटल हेल्थ केयर प्रोफेशनल्स ही नहीं हैं कि इस सिचुएशन को हैंडल कर सकें। WHO के अकॉर्डिंग इंडिया में हर 10 लाख लोगों के लिए मात्र 3 साइकियाट्रिस्ट, 0.7 साइकोलॉजिस्ट और 0.7 सोशल वर्कर्स हैं। वहीं कॉमनवेल्थ कंट्रीज में हर 10 लाख लोगों के लिए 5.6 साइकियाट्रिस्ट हैं। डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज से कंपेयर किया जाए तो वहां हर 10 लाख लोगों के लिए 66 साइकियाट्रिस्ट हैं। ऐसा इसलिए नहीं है कि हम गरीब देश हैं या हमारे पास कोई कमी है, but it is because for us as a society, mental health doesn't hold the place of importance that other things do. इस देश में जितने लोगों को mental health care की जरूरत है, उसका नंबर इतना हाई होने के बावजूद mental health has forever been neglected. You'll be surprised to know that India spends 0.16% of the total union health budget on mental health, which is less than that of Bangladesh, which spends 0.44%. The developed nation's expenditure amounts to an average of 4%. अपने देश में यूनियन हेल्थ बजट खुद ओवरऑल बजट का सिर्फ 2.2% है, तो मेंटल हेल्थ का एक्चुअल बजट ओवरऑल बजट का सिर्फ 0.0036% रह जाता है। मेंटल हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम्स एपिडेमिक की तरह फैल रही हैं, बट स्टिल इस इशू को एज अ होल कंट्री निग्लेक्ट करने का मेन रूट कॉज है द स्टिग्मा, टैबूज एंड मिथ्स बिहाइंड इट।
I have 2 questions for the 2 urban classes. I'll divide that into 2. One will be the student and one will be the working class. As a student whose exams have been postponed and he's studying from home, has a lot of motivational problem to study the same thing sitting at home, because he doesn't know how much time he's going to sit at home. He doesn't know when will his course end. And now coming to the working class, as a working class, I feel I'm not talking about the productivity in the sense of working from home or working from the office. I feel work from home is more productive, but still that habit that I had of getting up at a fixed time, going to my office, sitting there for 8 to 10 hours, finishing my work, and then coming back and then have that routine. So that routine has got into a complete mess now. And every time I go to sleep, all I think about is, have I done justice to the time? Have I been productive? So that there is this extreme race in my mind of being productive and of resting and taking it calm. So how do I deal with that?
So I think actually you need me to address 2-3 issues that you have kind of asked in these 2-3 questions. Right. So we'll focus one by one. For example, when we are talking about the students, for example, one situation could be when there was no teaching at all. Fortunately, now we have the provision for online teaching, and most of the colleges and schools have moved to online teaching. So I think students are now getting some regular teaching from their teachers
Right.
on the on regular basis. So again, how you want to look at the situation? You are at home. You can whatever teachings the teachers are doing, you can take that and you can sit at home and you can work on it. That is one thing. Second is, in case if the exams are postponed, or even in case if the whole 1 year goes waste,
Yeah.
one thing that should actually give us a feeling of relief is that it is not me alone in this situation. When
Right.
it is everybody, then I got to understand that it's not something that is going to happen to me alone. Suppose in case if everybody goes back by 1 year, it's all right.
Right.
Second thing is, see, there will be certain things that are in your control, and there are certain things that are not in your control. Actually, this is an activity I get done with my students very often. Not only students, anybody who has this anxiety.
Yeah.
If you make a list of things that are bothering you, for
Yeah.
example, schools are closed, or there is no regular studies, or to sit at home, or I cannot meet my friends. That way you will have a long list of things that are that is bothering you. So if you segregate this list of things that is bothering you into two parts, one
Yeah.
is things over which you don't have control, and things over which you have control. So you will find out there are certain things over which you have no control. For example, if there is lockdown and you are not allowed to go out, and that is something not in your control. That is something everybody has to face.
Right.
So, but how do I utilize my time? That is something that is in our control.
Right.
How do I set up my routine, or how do I help my family at home? Like that way, number of things. So
Right.
you got to really see things that are in your control. So very smartly, very intelligently, you have to focus on things over which you have direct control.
Right.
We all have a tendency to focus on things over which we don't have control. We want to talk about those problems, cry, blame, be unhappy, but that's not going to help us in any way.
Right.
So very consciously, very mindfully, even as students, if rather than crying and cribbing over it that schools are closed and I can't meet my friends, so why not plan that, okay, every day in the evening for 15-20 minutes we'll all chat on phone.
Yeah.
So that's another way we can socialize. So that's how very, very creatively you have to find solutions to the problems, rather than letting things bother you and boggle you, and then ultimately you at times feel that like I'm feeling completely out of it. So that's how you have to learn to focus your this thing. Now coming to people who are like working from home.
Yeah.
See, there is always plus and minus to everything. I remember even my daughter, whenever I asked her to work from home, she said, no, my productivity goes down. My productivity goes down, so I'm not able to I think I'm not going to really work well from home. For the last 1 month or so, when everybody's working from home, and so is she working, and I see her very productive. Then I also told her, see, you're saving almost 4 hours of travel time. You can utilize it for you. So rather than again focusing at negative, if you focus on positive, you'll feel better and you'll feel good. So that's the way you got to keep your mind on the track. Otherwise, if you start focusing on, then you're going to be upset. Now, coming to the productivity part, as you said that you at times get bothered with the idea that maybe I'm not being that productive. So why not make a diary and a time schedule? When you sit on your table and start working, write down the time, and then you write down the time when you get up from your chair. So slowly you'll actually be making a mental record of it, and you will know that, okay, I worked for 2 hours, now I can comfortably take half an hour break. Right. So in any case, even at 8 hours of job, I don't think everybody works for actually 8 hours. Yeah, so that way you can check your, and rest of the time again you have to very consciously utilize that time in the right way. And the best part is, whatever you are lagging behind, you can actually cover in this lockdown.
India is the youngest country in the world. 65% of our country is under 35, out of which 50% is under 25. That 50% is not millennials, who have been accused of ruining the world and the industries at large. It is actually a new generation of young Indians called the Gen Z, who are actually going to be the largest youth workforce in the world this year, beating China. The Gen Z is actually very different from any generation before. First, again, I want to give you a very cool statistic that you can probably put on your next sales deck or the next marketing deck. which is that in 2018, Gen Z who were born in 2000 turned 18, which means that they became the first adults of the 21st century. But what's cooler about them is the fact that until Gen Z happened, think about it, no Indians have ever actually had anything in common with each other. Nothing. Caste, community, color, creed, political opinion, we know that's not true. No Indians have had anything in common, but the Gen Z has one thing that has made them homogeneous, that they have in common. You're all kind of born digital natives. As digital natives, you have grown up on the mobile phone, on the internet, and you've had more access and awareness of the world than any other generation. You've been united by mobile technology.
A lot of times, psychologists advise you to go out, breathe fresh air, have good communication with people outside, and then go for a or maybe somewhere to disconnect from the world so that you can reevaluate yourself. Here we are stuck in these four walls. So so has your suggestion changed over to this thing, or do you still suggest that we should go out in the balcony and sit alone?
Definitely some self-reflection I think everybody should do on daily basis.
Right.
So more important is spending time with yourself. Where you do it, that's perfectly, all right. If you can sit in a room silently, tell your family members that for next half an hour I don't want to be disturbed.
Right.
Or consciously you move out to the balcony, or if you have a rooftop, go to the rooftop and spend some time with yourself. So I think more important is to stay focused on spending some time with yourself for self-reflection.
हाई बीपी, कोलेस्ट्रॉल, डायबिटीज, इन सब के लिए भर भर के दवाइयां खाते हैं। कॉमन कोल्ड तक के लिए कफ सिरप्स और क्या क्या नहीं करते। लेकिन मेंटल हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम आते ही हम किसी के साथ शेयर नहीं करना चाहते, किसी की हेल्प नहीं लेना चाहते। मोस्टली घर वाले ही सपोर्ट नहीं करते, तो बाहर वाले और सरकार क्या घंटा सोचेगी आपके बारे में। खैर, समझने वाली बात यह है कि मेंटल हेल्थ हमारी ओवरऑल हेल्थ का एक अहम हिस्सा है। इट इज नॉट जस्ट द एब्सेंस ऑफ मेंटल इलनेसेस। फिजिकल पेन इज मच मोर अपेरेंट, तो हमें पता चल जाता है, बट मेंटल पेन ये कम ड्रामेटिक होता है, धीरे से घुसता है, and it is much more common and much more hard to bear. और mostly हमें पता भी नहीं चलता, but almost सभी physical illnesses का major contributing factor emotional stress और बाकी mental disorders ही होते हैं।
मन प्रसन्न है तो तन प्रसन्न है ना। आपको सिर दर्द हो सकती है मानसिक रोग की वजह से, आपको पेट दर्द हो सकती है मानसिक रोग की वजह से।
Of course, if going out is not possible, or if it is not allowed, again you can feel bad about it and cry. Or you can find creatively some way to, find solution to the problem. So I always say, keep a focus on finding what can I do in this situation and how can I handle it. I think that would be a better way of handling a situation. So listening to music, reading books, listening to TED Talks, that's very enlightening. That's very enlightening. So whenever you are online, if you go on TED Talk and listen to some interesting TED Talk, really, it's almost like a book that you get to read in 10-15 minutes time.
Also, one thing I wanted to have your light upon was that not all children have a good connection with their parents, especially nowadays in this urban setup. So there was this disconnect that was possible because of so I'll just cut that part. So there was a disconnect that was possible because of everyone having a fixed schedule. Okay, but now I don't think that is going to happen because everyone is staying home. For people who are not very communicative to their parents, what do you suggest? How do they deal with that communication gap that is there between the parents?
Yeah, Pulkit, we are getting a lot of phone calls, especially on this issue where kids, especially the grown-up kids, are having a lot of problem, communicating with their parents, and even parents are having a lot of problem. So I think we really need to discuss this in detail, where we can help children learn how to, connect with their parents. Even parents need to understand what will work when they're handling their children. So maybe in another episode, we'll discuss in detail about it. But yes, definitely, I think what I can say in brief here is this is a golden opportunity now to spend time with your parents and family. Yeah. So make best use of it. Make all efforts to connect with them, spend time with them, help them in household activities, relieve them of some burden, because ultimately if everybody is at home and if it is your mother or your father who has been doing everything, so it becomes at times too much for them to manage everything. And especially we know at this moment we don't have servants and maids to help us at home. There's nobody to help us. Normally we usually have maids at home who would help us for a number of things. Right now we don't have any help at home. So why
Right.
not family come together and relieve each other of this lot of responsibility. So that's the best way to connect. When you help somebody, when you're nice to each other, when you try to relieve each other of the work, that's a good way of connecting. That's a very good way of connecting. And actually, honestly, communication does not require verbal communication. So it's not about words, it's your intentions to, work with your family, spend time with them. And when you start doing it, automatically things start becoming comfortable and easy for both the parties.
Right.
But definitely I think this needs to be addressed in a detailed manner. How do you really go about improving relationship? Just yesterday, I had a long talk with one of the boy who was 25 years of age. So he said that I really, I don't get along well with my mother because we are both strong-headed and we have challenge. So that's where both the parties require to understand how do you really, handle situation, handle each other, and come together for a while and then create some safe space for each other so that everybody's comfortable.
Right. And also about relationships that nowadays people have, because everyone is staying at home, so you don't meet the people you love every day. You don't meet your friends every day. So how do you, what would you suggest that how do you cherish those relationships? How do you keep it up with them, with the friendships? And is communication the only way, or do you suggest something else?
See, there are two things to it. One is thanks to the technology, I think we all can get connected with each other at any
Right.
point of time.
Right.
I mean, across the globe, you can talk to anybody any minute.
Right.
So we have video chat, we have WhatsApp calling, we have Facebook calling. So many things are available now. I think that should not be this thing. But at the same time, I would say golden chance to be with your family, be with yourself. So make best use of this, because usually we don't get time to get in touch with ourselves. So that's what is something to be,
I'll
cherished.
just add a last question and then we'll mostly end it. So my last question would be, after this lockdown, I think there will be a mind change between the people. People will have this mindset of being extremely aware while going out, maybe while shopping, while using public transport. What do you see the change in mindset? And do you see there will be a polarization between the rich and the poor more because of the issue of hygiene now?
See, what I think overall awareness about health and hygiene is going to definitely improve.
Right.
And it's not just among the rich or poor, it's everybody who's now who would become aware of the fact that how infection, transmits or travels from one person to another.
Right.
So this was something that was really, really required for all these years. And preventive health people have always been talking about, maintaining hygiene and, looking after their personal health. So this is going to be a very positive change, I would say.
पुराने वक्त में एंड नॉट टू लॉन्ग अगो, करीब 80-100 साल पहले, 50 साल पहले तक समाज और काफी हद तक विज्ञान इनको सिर्फ पागलपन के रूप में देखता था। तो ल्यूनेसी या पागलपन के प्रिज्म से जब मानसिक बीमारियों को देखा जाता था तो नेगेटिविटी जाहिर है। समाज अपने आप को बचा रहा था ऐसे व्यक्तियों के तथाकथित हिंसा से, तो उनको मेंटल हॉस्पिटल में डाल दिया जाता था जीवन भर। समाज अपनी रक्षा कर रहा था। उन व्यक्तियों की सेवा या इलाज या रक्षा का, उनके हकों की बातचीत कभी नहीं होती थी। वो होने लगी है सिर्फ पिछले 10-20 सालों में। और यहां सबसे पहला एक फर्क कर लेना जरूरी हो, जो सबसे कॉमन बीमारियां हैं, डिप्रेशन, एंजाइटी, जैसे आपने आंकड़े बताए, उनको कहा जाता था पहले न्यूरोसिस, उनको अब कहा जाता है कॉमन मेंटल डिसऑर्डर्स, CMD। वो करीब कम से कम 5 या 6-7% जनता में होगा। हमारे देशों में भी, अमेरिका, यूरोप में और ज्यादा होगा। जो गंभीर मानसिक बीमारियां हैं, जिनको पहले समाज और विज्ञान पागलपन समझता था और कहता था, वो अनुवांशिक है, बायोलॉजिकल है, जेनेटिक है। तो उनकी तादाद कल्चर और कंट्री या इतिहास में खास बदलती नहीं है।
Use of mask or use of sanitizers, I think it's required in such a large population when you are using public transport, when we are moving around. That was actually required, and that will definitely bring a very positive change. I don't think that it's between rich and poor. Even poor people are now becoming aware of the fact that they are supposed to look after themselves, or they are supposed to, prevent transmission of infection from one person to another.
Right. So it was lovely talking to you, ma'am, again. So I remember coming to you 3 years back, and I was helpless at that time, and I needed help. And we had a wonderful chat. We had a few sessions, and I had to go back to Pune after that. And luckily now I'm in Delhi, and I'll surely catch up with you again. So there have been extreme changes after that 3 years, in the past 3 years in my life, and in my personal life as well. So I would love to discuss it. So as soon as the lockdown opens, we'll catch up once again. And the best thing is that I just wanted to share that why I started this podcast. So I feel a lot of people are looking for suggestions, are looking for uh, viewpoints about many things that are happening around. Not everyone is fully aware of all the situations, and people are willingly looking for suggestions. And I feel the people who are closest to you know a lot of answers rather than people who are self-made gurus and self-made um, doctors. So that is why I want to bring as many people on the podcast and have the opinion. Maybe it is just for the limited people I know, but I think hopefully that will get transferred to a lot of people.
Definitely. When you're doing a good job, I think people automatically get connected with you,
Right.
and they get to see the benefit of it. I think as long as you are serving the purpose, people will be more than happy to avail your services. We can actually use this. You can even ask your friends if they have any questions related to, COVID or
Anything.
non-COVID, and we could take up those questions through this kind of discussion.
Interactions.
We can put it on YouTube, and you can even put it on podcast.
Right.
That would be a wonderful thing. You can make it a regular feature also, not a problem.
I'll make sure I'll make it a regular feature and have you more on the podcast. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Tonight, when you have nothing more to do, or tomorrow when you're free, just go to the room of someone you don't know, knock on their door and be like, listen, we've been together for 2 years. I don't know anything about you. Can I listen to your story? Can I know your story? You know what's going to be amazing? They will tell their story to you. And then this is the beautiful thing about stories. When you tell your story, somebody wants to know yours as well. Or they want to tell theirs as well. Stories empower more stories. Listening empowers more listening. Good stories empower greater stories. You listen to someone's story, and they will want to hear yours. And more stories will be told, and more empathy will be created. And when stories are told, the most beautiful thing that happens is catharsis. You realize that there's more that unites us than that divides us. You realize that there's more that we have in common with each other than we have different. You realize that we are in this together. Versus right now, where all of us are going through loneliness, but we're together in feeling lonely. But when you tell stories, you realize whatever it is you're going through, you are in this together with everyone else.